Okay. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Bill Graham from Model Railroading Live, the number one model railroading show in the world, if not the universe. Uh, we have a special guest with us tonight, two guys, actually. Get to that right in the moment. I know you guys would be rather watching us than the vice president debating. Everybody's going to be yelling at each other, so we can do this. I'm trying to get my phone on, so bear with me. I'll be right with you. But anyway, it's October 7th, 2020, and we are doing Who's Big Bill Talking To tonight. We have special guests with us. We got the big guys with the big trains, man. We got those big trains, not that HO stuff. Overly, usually overrated HO, what they say. Anyway, just to do a little homework, tomorrow night, Thursday, the 8th, is Johnny's Train Talk Show. And that's where you guys, the community, can come on in and sit down with John and be a part of his show if you have a good camera and everything else that you need, good internet. You can be on the show, you can bring in Bragg, and you can talk to John and to the other modelers, or we have a Q&A that's set up with it. So come on down to Johnny's Train Talk Show. Just walk on down to the general store there, pull up a chair next to the checkerboard, pull out a soda pop or adult beverage, and sit down with John and the rest of the crew and talk about model trains. And like I said, you can bring in Bragg, or you can, just sit and talk. If you have anything going on with your trains, we got about 6 different guys, and they'll definitely give you 8 different opinions on how to fix it. So that's a good thing to know. Also, then on September 10th, we're bringing back Tommy K and John Farrington, 2618. Small layouts with big opportunities. They're going to be continue to talk in regards to small opportunities, small layouts with big opportunities, shelf layouts where we can do a lot of things. And we're going to continue that discussion with them on Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All our shows on Model Railroading Live are at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that will be September 10th on this Saturday. So put that in your notebook. Is there anything else? No, there's not. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our guest tonight. Tonight we have Brian and Mike from Cross Anchor Railroad. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Most of you guys know these guys, out there. These guys have come on in a big way, like gangbusters. Sort of like their big trains. They just come in and they kind of like, they're right there. So, which is a cool thing, But Brian and Mike, I saw them in a couple of videos, and then I happened to see them. He was showing off the layout, and I was like, "Oh, we got to get these guys on. Got to get them on." And we had George and Wally, the father and son on the old scale thing, and these guys now are like totally. They just welcome, guys. Welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great. It's so nice having you. And we normally never get big scale guys on. We have George and Wally, and again, and it's something with the scale. It's big, bold, and beautiful. And it's like George and Wally are exuberant. The son George, when I first saw him, I said, I gotta have these guys on. And you guys are the same way, it's like you're basically just out there and you're doing it. So just let me start with you, Brian. Now, this is basically your layout, correct?
I'm the
owner operator,
the one with the train disease. That
yes.
I've had that most of my life, and I've learned to adapt with it and learned to overcome. And so this is like my head exploded in this room. It's like the mind of Minolta fell out.
But that's pretty cool. I mean, we were talking earlier before we went on air about the whole thing of a cost factor and everything, but it's not that, I mean, they're bigger price tag, bigger trains, obviously.
Right.
But and Mike, you're the techno wizard behind all of this.
Yeah, the label we've given ourselves is I'm the tech master and he's the train master.
Okay.
And but yeah, it was funny. I was listening to your interview with Heath earlier, and you had a list of like 4 or 5 guys with 5 or 6 different job roles that they had, and I was like, "Yep, that's me. I do all of those."
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, now the story is, Brian, that you kind of like this was your baby, and Mike had never really been involved in model railroading as a kid or growing up. He was more into the video games. When he came over, he was like blown away, basically.
Yeah. The first time years ago, this must have been 8 years ago.
Yeah, about 8 years ago.
And I was like, oh, hey, you should see my toys, and okay.
I got a little nervous when you said that. I was like, I don't think anybody's ever said that to me before.
So,
right.
Up we go, and he was like, just kind of stopped and looked at it for a while and was like, I didn't know people did this, and I didn't know there were weirdos like you out there.
Oh yeah.
He didn't say that, but it was like, it was like kind of like, oh my God, I didn't like a whole thing.
Right. Mike, let me ask you, when you first came in, and what was your first impression when you saw all those trains? What was like?
My first big impression was I came up here and I was just stunned because I didn't even realize this is a real thing, like you had just said. And it's like I'd seen this on TV, and I was looking around, and he goes and grabs an engine. And granted, then I had no idea what he was doing or what it was that he was holding. But he put his Hallmark white gloves on, and he grabs this engine and he brings it over to me, and he's like, "Here, hold out your hands." I was like, "Oh no!" So I hold out my hands, and he places this thing in my hands, and he's like, "Now hold it." I was like, "Okay," and it goes. Whew. And it's like, wow, that's like substantial. That's real.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I've seen models before, cars and other things, but none of them have the weight of this. It just doesn't feel as real like that. I was so surprised.
It was a GG1. It was a Lionel scale JLC version GG1, and they weigh 10.5, 11 pounds. So it is substantive and a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah. Human City Junction, Heath wants to know, I have never seen Brian sitting this early in a stream. How did you get him to sit down?
Heath, I gave him a stool.
Yeah.
And he tried to fall down the stairs.
If you feel it will come, so he put his stool there and I sat down.
Eric Hall, IMRRO.com says, I started out no scale. I have some great MTH engines as well as Lionel, but for the space and what I wanted to do, well, N-Scale seemed to fit. I just skipped the whole HO thing, and I still have all my O-Scale railroads.
That's cool.
Yeah. And Brian, what was the attraction to O-Scale for you?
I mean, growing up, when I was little, my dad had the O-Scales that the Lionel he got as a kid. He had like an NW2 Erie switcher, like an SD38 chassis, the famous S2 turbine, the Lionel, that post-war turbine with the pad. They whipped around in the basement, the HO. But when I decided I finally had a house that I had, like I was to the point in my life where I was settled and I had a house that had extra space in it, was able to go, I'd always thought about wanting to carry on with my own trains and everything, but I decided to go with O-Scale because I was all tossing it around, and I went, I have enough problems seeing in some problems dealing with small things, and I'm like, I don't know if it really gets better with age. So I don't know if shrinking down is really going to help me. So I decided to dive into the bigger ones, looking at trying to work on them 25 years from now.
Right.
It's still like, I don't know, because I have a tough time with a lot of the O-Scale stuff, getting it to go. And that was actually one thing that was my deciding factor 15 years ago or so, to really go full bore, to go, okay, I'm going to go with O, and that's what I'm going to go with.
GFW, Wally and George are on right now, and the question they ask is they wanted to know, guys, what attracted you to model railroading community on YouTube?
Actually, that's something I wanted to say when you had brought him up earlier. We back in June.
It was
year,
May
right?
and June.
May or June.
Yeah.
Brian is like watching YouTube and stuff, and he's like, Mike, you got to come and check this out. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, look, they're doing Fast Fridays. And I was like, what? So we sat down and we were watching GFW, and we watched George and Wally hang out and have a good time, and they were racing their trains. It was the coolest thing, the banter, the enjoyment they were having. I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, man, I want to do this. Brian, we got to make a channel. Like, that's so cool. And so I have attested and told them many times, like, they were definitely one of the big inspirations for us to get started on YouTube and actually give it a go. And it's like, okay, we could do this. I think we could do that.
Well, their attitude about it was infectious.
Isn't it?
I could identify with Wally with the way he looks at a train. I'm like, oh yeah, I've looked at that train that same way.
Right.
You know, he could sit there and he just talks about some of them, and it's just like, okay, I'm here. I'm sympathetic to you, and I get what's going on, and that's cool. And it was just you can tell when somebody's like, oh yeah, the train's cool, that's neat, and somebody's like, really, get the hell out of here, that thing is get that, really, you don't, so that scale, is there really that many of them? Wow. It's really neat. You see those people and it's like, okay, that's
you're absolutely you're absolutely right. They bring that was one of the attractions, especially the son, because most 15-year-olds, I think 14 he was at the time when I first saw him, is like, they're very, I mean, I got a 14-year-old nephew who, like, if you can get 3 words out of him, you're a pretty productive day, like, hey, yeah, stuff like that. I mean, he's a cool kid. I love him. I love him to death.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, but when you see George and you're like, he's an enthusiastic young man and he's like well-rounded, and that's due to mom and dad. Obviously, you can see that, and everybody in the family, when the mom and dad and the daughter are there and they're all doing it, you're like,
oh yeah,
this is so cool.
The Santa Fe Queen, yeah.
You know,
she scares George sometimes. Sometimes she started to get more camera time than George, and he got nervous there for a month.
But I have to say that you guys, when I first saw you, I was like, wow, check these guys out, and then when you did the tour of your layout, I was like, look at the size of this thing. Look at this guy, man. What are they doing? And and then when I got a chance to talk to you, Brian, on the phone prior to getting interviewed, and you were telling me about Mike's story, but I was just telling these guys on the other day when I saw them, you're starting to turn into that wide-eyed wonder kid, Mike, because when you do unboxing, you're like really like, wow, this is like really cool.
Well, the best part about that is he finally got me something orange.
Yes.
And
the BNF.
Yeah. He had at first told me that there wasn't a lot of orange that was available to the East Coast, and I finally, I guess I broke him down enough, and he managed to give me some like really slick engines, and I'm stoked. I love orange. I don't know if anybody's told you or not, but it's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And
Mike and orange.
Like I have a collection of orange things now. I have my whole train. It's all mine.
Oh, I have to send you my former Home Depot vest, my apron, my orange. It's a little dirty. It's a little paint smeared, but
That's
I
great.
use it in my workshop, but stuff like that. And my orange, and yeah, I'll sign it for you, so you can mount
Oh
it.
yeah. Now I'm excited. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah. Possum Bayou wants to know, do you model a particular railroad or just have an eclectic layout?
It's definitely an eclectic layout. It just, there's some, wanted to be able to do some different things on it, but we have several different lines now. And I mean, we probably have 10 different rail names, at least on the layout, in just engines, not even talking, cars you get. But yeah, I'm not prototypical, but I wanted to make sense and not be overly toy-like, but I'm not a prototypical modeler at this point of my modeling career.
Okay, all right. Southern Yankee Railroad, he says, what is the one engine that you don't have, but you really have to get?
I need that New Haven.
What, that EP5?
Is that what it is?
Well, that's what
who was it? It was
Real Toy
Toy
Trains.
Trains just
That's
showed
one,
me this engine. It's orange and black. That's pretty.
Yeah, an EP5, but one that I don't have that I really is it like I mean, what I really want right now, what I really want
What I really want?
What I really want is Lionel's 1930 Broadway limited rendition with Legacy K4 long haul tender 11 passenger cars. That thing is the bomb. It's $3,600 though.
Get two. Get two. Well, if you're gonna go for the 36, get another one.
Yeah, what, right? It's like, what is it? It's like, that's one of those, like, that's a bucket list one, trying to get a hold of that to have the whole on it.
Yeah, but the beauty of this whole thing too is the like, Mike, you bring the the whole technical thing to it. Since you when you got involved, when you made that transition from the good to the evil side of model railroad, did you like say, hey, let's revamp this whole electrical thing that you got going on? Did you add to it or take away? How did that, did you?
Well, one of my biggest pushes was I wanted this all to run off the phones. I wanted it all to be as high tech as humanly possible. And for right now, that is phones. When they give it Alexa and I can just say, hey, Alexa, run my trains, and it'll do things, I'm probably going to do that too.
Yeah.
But I definitely helped upgrade all the systems with the MTH and the Lionel and getting them programmed to actually work with all the new Wi-Fi systems that came out. It's actually one of the things we're going to be doing in our STEM episode is teaching people how to upgrade. What's it called? The control systems that go into the Wi-Fi.
Well, you got to have software package upgrades and different things that go into them.
Anyway,
yeah.
so you control
there's
them
always something upgrade.
and connect them together and get them going. That was kind of my thing. And I really enjoyed pushing it into the layout. It reminded me back when I was in the Navy that I was in IT in the Navy, if y'all didn't know. And one of the things is a lot of the technology is from 1960, 1950, whatever. And what they did was when new things came out, they would just put it on top of. So when you're trying to send a secure message to the ships out to sea or wherever, you'd have to have a computer. You typed it in, and the computer would send it through 4 different devices that would then send it out to the dish and send it off to the ship. And you had to get all of those things talking. So it was actually very similar to what's going on here. Maybe a little bit less with the Lionel and the trains and stuff because you're not trying to connect to a satellite. But
Right. And also national security isn't on the line here.
Yeah.
yes, so it's a little less
That's
scary.
a big thing. I mean, you guys really aren't the first defense against an attack.
But I mean, you're trying to get that analog motor to run via a digital device,
Yes, absolutely.
and it's that
It's very daunting.
that translation he understood much better than I did, and saved me from pulling the rest of my hair out. Any time underneath the table with a multimeter. Why won't this work?
Yeah, I hear that. I just want to give a shout out to my good friend Cloverdale Rail. Haven't seen him in a while. He's out of British Vancouver, Canada. Yeah, he's a real great guy. Great guy. GFW, Mike, how does the electronics and technical aspect of model railroading relate to your job or your experience in the Navy?
I kind of touched on it a second ago, but
Yes, he did.
there's a lot of computer equipment now that they have everything that we use as a civilian. I actually work for the Navy now as a civilian contractor, and it's the same kind of idea that you're working with computers and servers and stuff, but they're still using this old tech and just modifying and allowing it to grow and not have to like go to the dump or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Tim's Trains wants to know if you guys were to model a railroad that was not East Coast, what would it be?
I mean, for me, that would go back to a childhood movie, and it would be The Silver Streak. So I would probably try to model
That's
the Silver
good.
Streak going through its trek from Los Angeles to Chicago, coming into Marshall Fields on time. And but yeah, those some of those scenes they did going through the Rockies, I'm always blown away by great mountain work and guys who can do scenery like that and show that I always thought that's probably what an area that I'd be interested in doing. I like the mountains and the grades and everything like that. I think would be cool.
As you progress on this layout and you move forward in it, does doing the scenery make you nervous?
Very much so.
I'm excited though.
Yeah, and to the last bridges that got to get down because of where we're starting with the mountain to be our first major scenery push. And but I figure it's going to, the first like couple days of it'll be slow, and then it'll gain a rapid pace on the mountain and getting it to there. But I mean, it's, yeah. But then again, I think there's a lot of this that's going to go fast as we start to lay scenery. It seems to go a little quicker than other aspects of the construction.
Yeah, I'm excited for the mountain. It's going to touch the ceiling.
Yeah, there's going to be stuff that'll go that high, but it's just scenery that doesn't seem to come with the same the cost that comes with track and wiring and all the control systems.
Yes.
But you have to have all that down and done first to do your scenery correctly. And it's just so that cost had to come first. And I wanted to do some scenery stuff, but I kept telling myself no, because I kept making corrections. How many times I've moved track over all these years, learning, going, well, that didn't work very well. Now, did it?
Or how many times I'd make a suggestion or have a thought, and then the next day he's tearing the entire thing apart and starting over in a whole section and redoing everything. And it's like, well, what
a bad influence you are, man.
It's just another 400 feet of track. Don't worry about it. It's just 400 feet of track.
That's it. You can take.
You won't even notice.
Yeah, Eric Hall, in regards to your service in the Navy, he says, what squadron, command, ship, etc.? What years were you guys in the Navy?
Let you start.
Well, Well, I was in the Navy from the 90s into the 2000s. I was where the crust anchors comes from. I was a bosun mate in the Navy. And if you don't know what that is, Swain is a Latin derivative, which means lover of. It's the oldest job in the Navy, so it's a lover of boats. And we do all the very nautical things from steering the boat to we have to preserve all the outside of it. On small boys, you have to run small boat operations. A whole variety of things comes with being a bosun mate, and well deck operations on an amphibious assault ship, transferring fuel. Anyways, but yeah, so anyways, I was on a cruiser, recruiting duty, a fast fleet boiler, the Dirty D, the Detroit, and then I ended it on the Iwo Jima when I got back from Iraq. And that was
you were on the Monterey.
Well, the Monterey, yeah, the cruiser at the beginning, and then and I did my tour in Iraq, and then I ended in Iwo Jima when I did that. And you were on.
I started in Sicily, Italy. I started at because I was in IT. I was actually running the telecommunications station there. And then
Was that Sixth Fleet?
Yeah, Sixth Fleet. Yeah, for the Med. And then when I was done there, and I got in 07, and I got out in 2014. But I went from there, and then I came back to the States to Norfolk, Virginia, and I was on the Iwo Jima. And then I went to Nick Tam's Land, which is another telecommunications station here in Norfolk. And now I work for the Navy as well, but now I'm actually working on CGs. I was actually just on the 84, the Berkeley.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's
Rainbow, that's your service.
Yeah, real quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, well, thank you for the service, and thank you for.
We can talk for hours on that subject.
Oh yeah, I could tell you a sea story. I don't know if I could tell you most of my sea stories on here though.
Remember, George Wally's son is here, so he's listening. Rainbow Bell says, "I know about old tech, new tech in the Navy. I've been 30 plus years, but it's been unique how they mix it."
It really is.
Ray's another vet. Yeah, another Navy vet. What's up?
John Arthur, my grandfather had an old scale running through 2 upstairs bedrooms, bridge across the stairs to connect. Love this stuff. I just haven't got the space. I think that's true with most everybody. I remember as a kid, my Uncle Tom's brother, they lived in Park Slope. They lived in a brownstone mansion. We would go there for Christmas. This was my mother's sister was married to this guy, and his brother and the father, they had an old scale layup set up on the 3rd floor. And I remember as a kid, I was like 8 or 9, walked in and saw this like giant old scale layout. I was like, I immediately went to my dad and like, you got to build that. He was like,
yeah.
He says, get out of here. I ain't building any of that. But that's the thing. And the thing of the matter, the thing too is that you guys come across like George and Wally, you guys hit the road running with this YouTube stuff and came out here and like right across the board, with HON scale, and like really got involved in all sorts of the different aspects of every scale. And it's like, when you guys do your live streams and you're talking, it's like everybody's included. It's just not like, hey, we got this and we can't, like, you're in it from top to bottom. Like, you want to know what everybody's doing. And that I think is really cool,
Well, for us, I think a lot of that came there is a lot of the Navy in there with that type of stuff, dealing with when we wanted to do this channel, because that was something GFW, a thing back on them is like with the next generation people, the future of the hobby, right? There's plenty of us who've been around a hot minute that, all right, already into it,
Right.
That's not the thing. So it was, and drawing on experiences we had in the Navy and wanting in our life's experiences and wanting to be inclusive, to not just be narrowed to one field.
Well, it's one of the things too is that I had no experience with this. So I kind of felt like I was one of the younger generation coming into this with no idea of how to do anything. And that helps us, I think, like lead us into this when we're talking to younger people that are asking questions like, okay, well, I don't know the answer, so I'm trying to get the answer too. Well, can you explain that to me?
Right, exactly. And it really, it truly is a breath of fresh air. You know, GFW, Wally and George, you guys coming along, even though it's a bigger scale, but still it's model railroading. You know, and it's like just, and Brian, you told me earlier you're 45, and Mike, if I may ask, how old are you?
I'm 31.
31.
Yeah,
You guys, yeah, you guys are relatively young within this hobby. There's guys my age and older, you know, that that are doing this, and to have this is you're closer to the younger 20s, you know, that, and you're right at that position where you can relate to the older guys as well, you know, and your life experience comes. So it's a broad band of experience that gets everybody involved, and that's.
But we've made a lot of.
Yes, nobody else can hear John talk.
We've made a lot of friends on here. Like we got more active on GFW's channel. We met a lot of people that he was hanging out with, and we branched off and we met like Keith from Human City Junction. We met Back on Track, Shannon, that's all in Australia, and his whole crew, like Ray, Train Freak. We've met so many people on here that are just so inclusive and that are trying to kind of push that same thing. They don't care that we're O scale. They're just glad that we're hanging out and having a fun, good time with it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. Exactly right.
Name, not to like leave anybody out, but it's so cool that we're not being left out either.
Yes.
We were looking at this is kind of what a lot of what we were doing was like, come hang out with us. Kind of like if you came over to visit us and you came over, it'd be like, all right, we're going to, you know, come up and hang out in the train room. And it's like the thought of everything. A lot of what I do in my head is like, if you were here hanging out with me, and how would I be talking to you? That same, like we're here. That's the idea, is like, I'm bringing you into my house to show you this, you know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah, right. Exactly.
We go through there, and it's not necessarily like a movie or a video. I view this more as it's like a porthole to go hang out, like, you know, because we could turn around with the camera right now and go look at stuff, you know, in the middle of town. So it's kind of that way, and it just, I don't know, it just seems to jive a little bit, and trying to, I don't know, just engaging with the people is fun. And the support we received, we have such phenomenal. We do have a lot of the next generation involved in a lot of our channel and on our Discord and different platforms. And shout out to all those guys that and gals who were on there and interfacing like that way. It's really awesome. And I wanted to say a shout out to our petty officers, how hard working they are on our channel, and how much we do appreciate how they've been helping out and contributing into the success.
So one of the things that we've been doing on our Discord channel is we actually started like making you know how on YouTube they have wrenches. We've put a couple people as administrators on our Discord, and going off the Navy theme that we got going on, we labeled them petty officers. So a couple people have asked us if they could help us out or do anything and be a part of the community a little bit higher level. And so we decided we made a Discord petty officer, a Facebook petty officer, a Reddit petty officer, and they help us on YouTube. But on Discord, they also have like administrative privileges as well, and gives them that extra level of responsibility. But it's another way where we can include them, and they can come to us for questions or help us kind of connect to the community a little bit better if we're missing something and they see it.
Oh, and we go to that for questions. I mean,
it's
amazing. Like there's This pop is dead. Oh, blah blah blah. I'm sorry. There's a lot of young people involved in this hobby that'll run circles around my head.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Stuff and know more about it than I ever will when I'm 80. And we're trying to engage a little differently and just.
We interviewed Sam's Railroad Productions last week, and this young man, he takes the train apart and fixes it and puts it back together. Mm-hmm. He buys trains and puts them back together, and it just astonishes. And I watch his videos, which are awesome, by the way. Y'all should go check them out. And he has he speeds them all up while he's working and everything, and he shows them not working, and then all of a sudden they're working, running around.
They're working.
Oh my God!
I know.
I have to send my trains away.
Randall Ellis, he says, "Hey, Cross Anchors, I finally got the bleach boxcar done, but I had to make some changes. I couldn't use the hollow Inchico sticker on the roof. It just would not stick for some reason."
Oh man, I cannot wait to see those, Randall. I'm so excited. I actually based upon what you do, I'm thinking about either trying to get you to get me one, or maybe I'll try and get you to help me to make my own. But we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm super excited over it. That's an anime, if you don't know. It's a Japanese cartoon.
Okay, yeah. Ron's Trains and Things showed up, and he came in a little late.
Hey, Ron.
He says, "Big Bill, could you repeat what was said right after good evening, everybody?" He came in late. Right now, we're talking to Brian and Mike from Cross Anchor Railroad. These guys have an O-scale layout that's tremendously off the charts. So we've been kind of exploring their involvement in YouTube and how fast they've risen in the YouTube community and what they're doing. And they were explaining about the different parts of allowing or inviting others in different administrative roles and just spreading the wealth and letting let them be involved in what they're doing, so that there's a contribution all the time and an exclusivity that everybody's involved in it. That's the other thing too, is you guys do these, we talked on the tech tune-up, you go into the hobby shops and you actually, film it and you promote their businesses and you promote what they're selling and how they're supplying the hobby, because they're just as much as part of the model railroading hobby as anybody else. Oh, yeah. Darkman Productions, promoting the model train hobby as a whole is important, no matter what scale. It's great that model train YouTube channels get together to support and promote the model train hobby. Yes, very true. About the clock. Let's see.
While you're reading that, to touch base on the train stores real quick, we've been really having a really good time. I'm really happy that because we go and we actually ask them and see if they'll let us do so, and it's not monetized or anything. We just do it out of trying to have a good time and show how cool these stores are. We've done what's the one in Norfolk? Dale's train station in Norfolk, Virginia. We did Tiny Tim's
in Ashland.
Tiny Tim's Toys and Trains in Ashland, Virginia. And now we've also done Brady's Train Outlet in
Greensburg,
Pennsylvania. And they've been so gracious and nice to us to allow us to go in there and do that, because we spend 3 hours in there with them. And they spend money because you're going in a train store 3 hours. You're not walking out with no trains.
No. You got that right. Track question for Brian and Mike. He wants to know, is there enough liquor in the cabinet for my Aussie taste?
I'm sure there is.
Shannon, I'm sure you'll be taken care of just fine.
Yeah. Darkman Productions says, I need that Lion L neon clock. Then he goes on further to say, I'm sure I just couldn't walk in there and walk out with that clock.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so either.
Orange Stack, man, we might have to have some fisticuffs over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pry that out of his dead cold hands.
Yeah. Hey, could we? You got some cameras set up on your layout there. You can move them around and get to see this awesome.
Do the green one first. You want to go over there?
Yeah, we.
Ooh. Now this is a 3-rail setup. Is that correct?
Can y'all still hear him?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Just speak.
Use your man voice.
Okay. Yeah, this is a 3-rail oak scale, and
Camera over there.
yeah. Hold on, I'm going back. So I have there's 5 independent loops on the layout plus a 5-track classification yard. This area don't spin all the way around. This area is turning into an industrial area where the siding is, and there'll be industry here. This area through here with the bridges is going to be where a river runs through it. And there's going to be Naval Weapons Station over here. This swing bridge works. Here, Mike, can you zoom in on the swing bridge? Okay, now here's an action accessory on the layout, and this guy actually works. So up it goes, and now it'll rotate.
Oh man.
So there's a bridge just like this by Naval Weapons Station, Yorktown. So I wanted to get this to help set the scene for creating that there on the river, like it is here in this area.
That is so sweet.
And there it goes, sitting back down in place. And then it'll spin back around to seat itself again. That's a really great accessory. This is from Lionel. And it really helps bring some things to life on the layout.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also, I mean, I don't know if you guys are going to be doing operations or anything, but that operational wise would be so cool to do.
Yeah, we actually have a video of its unboxing and putting it up and running it and stuff. But yeah, now that we had the layout disconnected for a little bit, but now we got the TIUs back, and now we're starting to run some more.
Yeah, you want to turn this back over this way to this guy.
But,
And then this main, here's on the main passenger thoroughfare here. There's 4 E7s. There are 3 power units here, and these guys they're over 6 feet long, just the 4 engines. Yeah, the 4 engines. Sorry, I was looking that way. And 11 passenger cars on this guy, and that's the Congressional, PRR Congressional. And then here, we're coming into the yard area here, as you can see, is Michael keep painting around here. This is, but this bridge goes up to the mountain, as you can see there, and it goes all the way up to the, up here, because we have 5 different levels that transition over 4 feet on the layout from the bottom to the top. And all things on the layout are connected. You can get anywhere from anywhere.
I have a question.
Sure.
GFW Train says, are you going to have a theme on your layout when it all comes together?
Well, I mean, yeah, because I don't know if theme would be the word. I mean, everything kind of has like as you go around, there'll be like something different in each area. Like as we spin this way, here, you'll like this area, Bill. See, there's the city that's going to be up there with Grand Central. You can see right there. And then the whole area up there is going to be like high-rise buildings. And then with the subway below it, the train station below there. So this area back in here is going to be the city. And then here, you can kind of see down there, that's all the yard. the 5 classification tracks, and you can enter it from the east side or the west side, and it's all interconnected there. And you want me to go back there? Well, you do the I'll crawl back there.
Another question from Doc Dankman Productions.
Yeah.
I have a question for Cross Anchors Railroad. Since they are in the military, do either know what a boxcar is with a DODX reporting mark?
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
I've seen things of that nature. I mean, they end in X2 like just in the regular railroad when it's because they're not like a class 1 railroad. So
Right.
like, it says USNX on it or something. Yeah. Because all of our major weapons stations have trains on them because that's what brings all the munitions down the pier right to the ships.
Right.
So there's all sorts of equipment like that. And then in here is our major engine area, as you can see, where we have the turntable, 11 whisker tracks, inbound, outbound engine yards. I mean, for the engines coming in and out, I have 4 big diesel tracks over here where diesel sheds are going to go in this area because these guys are definitely, what are they, about 5 feet long, these tracks here, so I can park my big lash ups.
And all our bridges are custom.
Yeah, just about all of them are. Like this orange one, all the ones that are different colors that you see here, we made ourselves and ended up form fitting into the area to get to work with how we ended up developing the track plan. But I'm going to come out from being back here. This is going to be a coal mine up here, and eventually we'll connect in.
Crystal mine.
And with crystals, yeah, too. We have a train that does that.
Darkman Productions says the DODX is Department of Defense and carries ammunition.
Yeah. Yepper. Yeah, I've moved a little ammunition in my day. Patriot missiles and whatnot too, but very cool things. They got special cars for all that stuff. But
Now I have a question in regards to the layout itself, the layout. What is the sub road bed under the track? What does the track just nail to the plywood, or do you have some sub road bed to it?
It's similar to like the N-Scale and HO, like the Cato track and stuff that already has the road bed. And then this is Lionel Fast Track, and it's screwed down. And most pieces have two screws in them to hold them securely down, because if you don't do that, you'll always be, your electrical connections will never work. Because, I mean, underneath the layout I'm over 3,000 feet of wire now between all my track feeds and all the controls for the switches and the accessories. So you gotta, the electrical setup is fundamental to this situation working. Because, I mean, I have, you get a complex layout, it gets complex. And all the stuff that you have to do in it, and it really does go.
You want to look down there real quick?
Yeah, do you want to see underneath? You want to see some of the wiring and control?
Yes. I have a question. GFW Trains wants to know: did you make the blue and orange elevated bridges on your track?
Yes. Yep.
And
Made those. And the purple one, and that one back there, and all these up here, that one black one. Several of these we made. The far black one back there. Yeah, we made 1, 2. We made a lot of those like last year, and now we got to finish these couple here. And this next month, this bridge I'm going to finish is the next project coming up. We'll have on the channel as I do the work on it and all that stuff, all the way through painting it. But here, this is my main control board.
Hang on to your seats, boys, when you see this.
What did he say?
Hang on, you.
He said, hang on to your seats, boys, when you see this.
Oh. Well, right here, these are 4 of my 8 bricks. Each one of these is 180 watts and puts out at 18 volts, 180 watts. And these power each one of these per track. So, and then I have one that does the yard, one that does the passenger station, and one that does the sidings and whatnot. But here you have the main breakdowns of my terminal buses going out to all my tracks. Control systems. This is the MTH DCS system. Here's what controls switches. You can see where the switches are wired in. This one I'm still working on. That's why it's not attached on the board. Here is actually where there's Wi-Fi components that we connect into to control the trains through here. This is a signal booster that was made. That's Lionel Legacy over here. That's a control system for the Lionel trains. This is switch power over here. And this is my main board. I have another board on the other side of the table with most of this stuff duplicated to power that side of the layout when I was mapping out how to do all the wiring and trying to be as efficient as possible to not waste money on the situation, because all this stuff, of course, it adds up.
What do you use for the wiring?
The wires, the main wiring on the layout is 16 gauge speaker wire. I like that. It was easy to use. It came in the 2 pieces already together, 1 copper, 1 silver, so I could do hot and cold.
Right.
And then telephone wire.
And we have a STEM episode actually explaining some of that too. Fast track.
Yeah. Ooh. And to be able to, yeah, there's another control panel down on that side. You can see some of the bricks down here. It looks just like that one, but it's a whole, just to harness the wires on this side of the layout from all the switching that's over here. And there's just so many power feeds you got to do, because you have to do one every 10 feet because, these trains, they can eat a lot of power, when you start getting a 30, 40-foot train.
Yeah. John Arthur said that looked like the bridge in the Hunt for Red October movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then, Bill, here's your favorite.
Yeah, the Hell's Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So this one we put in here, of course, it lifts so you could get through, but I have, it's completely wired with safety stops, so trains won't run off the edge when it's up and everything, and it has, the closet switches when you open a closet door to turn on the lights?
Yeah.
Down here, I use those pressure switches. I don't know if you can show with that camera. The legs on it. Those are closet pressure switches. So when the bridge comes down, it pushes in and then it engages the power to the other things. And then when you lift the bridge, it cuts the power to all those areas.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, so that way
GFW Trains wants to know, how many MTHDCS units do you use with your layout?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know, about 12, 13 DCS engines right now. Some Proto Sound 2.0, several Proto Sound 3.0. And then the rest are all line out, because what did I end up having the other day, Mike? We had this question. 40 power units. I got 40 power engines. 40 power units that are TMCC, Legacy, or MTH. And then there's 2 conventional engines and 6 dummy units.
I have a question from Eric Hall, IMRR.
Yeah.
Com. He says, he asked, what do you think about MTH basically quitting what are the future plans for MTH control systems? And do you think price will spike on MTH products? Buy now better than buy later?
My personal feelings on that are, I mean, the parts and service are carrying on already. Long-term employees are carrying on that division as a separate section. The DCS, which is all their command control stuff that they make for HO scale, is carrying on, partnered with another company now, and will be continued to be made and supplied already. They've already announced new products that they've designed that are coming out next year. They already got them out. They're already taking pre-orders on them for next year. So the only thing that hasn't been dealt with in MTH is the molds and to actually make the model trains themselves. And there's a lot that can happen between now and when that is. And there's a lot of different molds, and companies do a lot of different things, but it just seems like he's streamlining out the company, and they're going to smaller, more manageable, more efficient divisions as to what they do, vice a bigger company with multiple divisions. Because they're not bailing on everything, and there's several aspects of it that are already carrying on. That they announced most of that stuff the day after he announced he was going to close.
Right.
The next day he announced all those other things pretty much were going on. So now COVID's thrown, I don't know what other extra wrenches into the situation.
Yeah, sure. You're right.
You know, but that's my take on it. Because, I mean, there were still several new things that were newly designed. There was new tooling. So, I mean, on some products like that cab forward he just did. So, I mean, it's interesting, but I also go with writing one letter. Mike's Train House got more commercial time and advertising, people talking about MTH trains, than if he'd have paid a marketing firm to put TV commercials on NBC.
Right.
So
you're right. You know, so it's a double-edged sword. You know.
All he did was write a letter, and everybody said, "Oh, please! Oh my God, MTH, you were the competition." I mean, and he did. Mike did a lot for the industry. Mike, he's been around, but he wants to retire too.
Yeah.
You know, why not? I mean, he's been through a lot in this industry. You look up the history of it. It's a model railroading. It's a rough industry. I never realized here's this nice, quiet little industry of introverts in the basement, but. Boy, I tell you what, there's lawsuits for model railroading.
Yeah, it is. I got a question from Back on Track. They wanted to know, with all the friends that you guys have made through YouTube community, would you guys thinking about doing a big meetup like what Sparky 107 has done?
It's something that we've talked about and thrown around, but right now with COVID and stuff, we're kind of holding off a little bit. But afterwards, yeah, it is something that we're really, truly considering, and we're definitely going to put out on our channel eventually. For now, we've been tossing around the idea of doing a Halloween costume party since we can't get together with people, and we're going to do a live stream on Halloween with costumes. So, wearing costumes, come hang out with us.
Yeah, you get on camera, you get to you can go be famous if you're in a costume.
That's cool. It's really cool.
You just can't be naked.
No.
I don't think YouTube will let us do that.
No. Well, if you put a disclaimer out there and stuff, illegal rap, you know. You know what I wanted to ask you too, and I know this is part of model railroading. But when you designed this layout and you built this, did you have a color scheme for the walls?
This is
or just something you had left over in the basement and said, "Oh, I'll put that on."
No, well, I had to have this attic redone because the house is old and
1916,
1915,
15,
and this was a flowers in the attic kind of scary thing up here when I bought the house. And you didn't really I go commercial where the dummies are sitting up around the table. Yeah. So having this done, and I said, well, I I wasn't sure what my whole vision was up here, but I knew I was putting trains, and then I picked this blue color because I said, well, hell, at the last, it'll be sky. So it'll always be a good backdrop to the layout. And that's why I picked the blue. It's called Franklin Lake Blue, by the way. So that was Sherman-Williams, I think it was.
Cool. The Mystic Southern Railway says the space is quite impressive, lights, etc. And yeah, it is. Do you guys do you do the maintenance on your rolling stock and engines as well?
Some of it, yes, and then there's the points where it's like I have an engine I have sent out right now.
You sent it to Sid, right?
Yeah, I sent that to Sid's Trains. He's given my I have an Allegheny, and he's given that the works. It's coming back with new command control and cruise control and LEDs and
right.
It'll tell me what to do when it gets back.
Y'all need to check his channel. Sid's
he does
Trains. Some amazing things.
He's the shiznick. He knows one or two things. He's a young man that is definitely connected in this hobby. And he knows all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But the maintenance, you gotta want to, you gotta be able to do that. You couldn't afford to put traction tires to send it out all the time and stuff. But that's part of the fun of it, I think.
How do you maintain the track?
What?
How do you maintain the track? How do you clean the track?
Sometimes a little fine sandpaper, but I do have this right here.
Didn't we get this from a train show?
Yeah, when they used to have those things called train shows back in the day.
Yeah, I remember those.
This is a cleaning car.
Right, exactly.
And there's this independent switch where you can cut it on and off, and these pads spin and they come right off.
Cool.
And
you start white.
Yeah, they start white and then they just wear down. And you don't have to they don't have to use a cleaning agent. And you just run this over the tracks and this thing works like a champ. I try to run it around, but like everybody else, I'm probably lacking on how often I should clean my tracks.
Yeah, I hear that.
It's like every time on a live stream when you hear everybody on a live stream, oh, look, it's the dirty part of my track way back in the ass corner of my layout where nobody can get. Now my train.
Yeah, that's over there for me in the 4-foot deep closet,
way
in the back, way in the back.
You gotta have pop-up holes in your layout because if it can derail or wreck in the furthest place from where human beings are, that's where it'll happen.
Exactly right. Exactly.
It never wrecks right in the front of the layout.
No, never. Why should it? It knows exactly when.
Train fanatic over that. He had a live stream where something had wrecked in the back.
In the tunnel. In the back. You gotta do it's like goodness. Mr. Murphy loves a live stream.
Let's see he does. Jackman Production says that cleaning car is made by a company MNP or many new products. I made a video from their booth during a train show. They make them in other scales as well.
Well, thanks, Sean. Hey, I'd like to do a quick shout out there to Sean there with Jackman Productions because he's done some co-hosting with us and he's done a great job and been a wonderful member of the community.
And we really appreciate all the help he's done too.
There you go. John Arthur says, I was born in Newport News and have lived in Richmond most of my life.
Oh, you're only about an hour from us,
yeah.
John. When we do our get-together, you have to come and hang out.
Yeah, John Arthur's, he's an HO scale model. We had him on our show earlier this year, and he's really, he's one of the guys I called up, and I said, hey, you want to be on Who's Big Bill Talking To? And he was like, why me? Why would you pick me? I don't know that much. I said, you have fun hobby? And he goes, yeah. I said, then you're the guy I want on my show. If you're having fun, we're putting the F word back in the hobby, bro. Come on, let's go. And stuff. So it's good. It's all good. I'm telling you, you guys. I cannot. I'm gushing here. I am. I'm a fanboy for Cross Anchors Railroad. I really am. That's.
Well, thank you.
Happy to have you on board.
It's. I just cannot believe how you guys came on the scene and you just like boom, just shot. Like guys work years and years and years to get to the level. I believe, and I think you guys broke the glass ceiling. Yeah, I really do. I think you guys you're involving the community. You're doing shows that are involving them, how-tos, whys. And the beauty of it is that you don't do that thing where it's like, well, this is what we know best. Like, this is what works for us. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, okay. That's even better. But we're going to keep doing what we're doing because, we really like having you guys aboard and we really like having fun and we really enjoy this. So that's so cool. That is so cool. When this whole post-COVID, when we cover this COVID thing and we can tell stories about it, I'm definitely putting it on my calendar to take a ride down because from Staten Island to you guys, not far. And it's like you'll be doing a video in 6 months and you're like, Bill hasn't left yet.
Have a good old time. We'll smoke a brisket.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Yeah, a little brisket never hurt nobody.
No. Hey, John Arthur wants to know, when did you guys start building this layout?
Probably now 10, 11 years ago when started putting table pieces together. It started expanding because it took several years just till we had the attic done. As a project there. Then it was on the floor for a while I was trying to, futz around and decide what do you want to do before you do this. And it took a while because it is expensive. There's times I bought a board a week. There's times we'd go months without buying anything because it was like, okay, well, that ain't working now. All right, I'll just sit up here and play with the three I have and twiddle my thumbs.
Yeah.
For years before I could go around a whole circle where it was only half a layout.
Yeah. Right?
And it worked. It was like, okay, but he helped me get past a lot of that because it was only half when he saw it.
Oh, yeah. It's evolved a lot since I first saw it.
He was like, you need to get this thing to like go around in a circle or this is just get rid of it.
Yeah, just either crossword puzzles. Take up crossword puzzles or just get rid of Yeah, you're right. Real Toy Trains asked a question, which was on my list, and I'm glad he asked it. As you guys, we talked the other night about your traveling car. Tell us a little bit about what you plan to do with that.
So we just got it sent off. It just is on its way for its first definition, and you're going to be the first people to know about it. GFW Trains is going to be receiving this. It should be like around Saturday, and we have a premiere coming out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow morning for the instructions. Yeah,
with instructions on how it's going to go and everything, and unboxing. We actually unboxed it ourselves, so it kind of looks correct and everything, and we're super excited. But we put our decal on it, and we actually signed it ourselves, and we're sending it with markers and things for everybody to sign it themselves as well. And when it fills up, we're gonna put this on the layout, and we're gonna have another one and send it out, and it's just gonna be an ongoing thing.
Well, this is a honoring veterans box car we started with, and then the next one we'll do a first responders, then we'll go back to another veterans car. But there's like a whole thing, we're like sending like a whole journal with it so people can document the travel of the car. We're sending a thumbnail with it to put the pictures in the video you do with the car on your layout, different things, and it's something we wanted to do to share something with the community and have something between us like that. And because I've seen other people do that, and it's not like the idea is original to us, but I really hadn't seen anybody do it in O scale.
Yeah, Back on Track has a car that's being sent around right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a cool idea. I just love it. GFW Trains just said it is really a cool idea, and we're so excited. We wanted GFWs to be our first thing that the traveling car went to, is because they were such an inspiration to us when we first started YouTube, and we wanted to show that to them as well. And we had asked Wally and George if they would be welcome to the idea. So we're super excited that they accepted, and I can't wait. I
mean, we had said in the video, because we had showed, because cut all stuff so it all fits back in the box neatly for travel and kind of what we were trying to do. But the whole it just I don't know. It's just an idea we're just so excited about, to have that interaction with our community. And I kind of tried to put it out in the video as well for particularly like the next generation type guy modelers out there. You know, take pictures with this thing somewhere. Put your flavor on it. Show this car a good time. Don't break it. Show it a good time. Take it, and have some fun with it, and let it have a little adventure. And we'll document that, and then make like a compilation video of that whole car's little life adventure out in the world. Is kind of what we're trying to do with that, and what we're thinking with it. So we hope it goes, and we're in the works of looking at some other scales. If we get a lot of requests and it goes right, we're looking at some other scale cars.
Who is he kidding? We've already got a lot of requests.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure you do. I'm sure. I used to be in a fantasy baseball league, and my one and only time that I actually won the championship season, we had an actual trophy, and real nice, good, like the Stanley Cup trophy. It's like, and you put the year around the whole thing. And I really wanted to document that I had this, so I would take it with me, and I'd go to the local fire department, and I asked the captain, could the guys go outside with me and and pose with the thing, and they would be like, sure. And the whole that shift got out in the front of the firehouse, and I'd hold it up, and then I went to the local police station, and I was like, can the cops come right out and put the lights on? I can do a video. And they were like, yeah, let's do this, And then I went to the sanitation department. I went everywhere. I would stop people on the street.
That's awesome.
So you're right. It does add to that element. Even if you don't have an O scale A and you can't run it around, just bring it and, go to your local delegate and sit with the guy, your butcher, and say, hey, pose with me, Sal.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, we have the Discord, and we have our email address on the video that's coming out tomorrow for people to sign up for it. We have a couple people already waiting for it, and we just have to wait. But we're definitely going to try and get an HO and an N scale going. So that we had to find the right car.
Sure. I think guys. I think that is great, and I want to say thank you very, very much for you guys being on this Who's Big Bill Talking To tonight. This has been really a lot of fun, and again, you guys are very enthusiastic, and you bring so much to the model railroading, community and everything. And it's just such a great honor and a privilege having you guys on there. And again, I know that I speak for the rest of the community when I say to you, thank you, and thank you very, very much for your service in the United States Navy. I have relatives who were in the Navy and Armed Forces and Marines, and I cannot thank you enough for your service and for your due diligence of serving this country. Thank you again very much for what you've done and what you've contributed. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do this freely and openly. So again, thank you very, very much. And
we appreciate that, Big Bill, but we also appreciate you having us on here tonight. It's been a wonderful time, and this has been really exciting for us. We've been looking forward to this for a little while now.
You're a staple mainstay of the community, sir, and my hat's off to you for everything that you have done for this hobby to help keep it going and to help what's going on with it, even at this point what you guys are doing here is something too, and it's just something to see this model railroading community and
Yes.
how we've been able to help each other out, particularly in the COVID.
Yes, exactly.
And how we've helped each other survive.
Yeah. The good thing is we don't have to get tested. We don't have to get that thing stuck up on.
Yeah.
It's the pain. But anyway, I want to thank you. And I just have to say one more thing. Again, my apologies to Sir Rod Stewart. Rod, I know we were supposed to have you on last week, but we didn't. So I really, truly, and I know you called me and I never got back to you, but I truly want to apologize, Rod Stewart, that we didn't have time. We ran out of time with Brian and Mike on Cross Anchors Railroad. And I promise you, we'll have with you, we're going to be on next week with Steve Atwell. I'm going to make time. So please get in touch with me so we can work out the details. Again, I do apologize for not having you on. Guys, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this and being on our show, Model Railroading Live, the #1 model railroading show in the world. You guys out there, take care. Without you watching out there, we're just talking to dead air. So you be safe, be blessed, and be aware of what's going on around you. Take care, and we'll see you guys on the radio. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Thank you.